Hello, and welcome again to another episode of Dave Trippin'. So before I get into the meat, the discussion of this video, I want to say a few things, get a few things out of the way. First, and most important, this is not a dream crusher video. This is not about discouraging people from coming to Japan or teaching English in Japan. It's about knowledge. It's about empowering people with the information to make the kind of decisions that will let them come to Japan and with hard work and effort have the formative, amazing experience that should be the right of everyone who wants to come over here and do a good job. This is not to be negative. It's to open eyes and prepare people. Second to this, I wanted to say thank you to one of the subscribers who basically forwarded me an article that would allow me to speak in more detail about this subject, which I've touched on in a few other videos, but not specifically directed my attention at it before. I wanted to say thank you for that. Thirdly, when I talk about corruption, I'm talking about large dispatch companies, something that isn't directly working with the BOE, Board of Education, or something that isn't a smaller company. You'll find these kind of issues definitely dissipate as you move in the direction of those that I've just mentioned. So it's to a specific group. So I'll speak about my company first and foremost because I have obviously direct experience with them and anecdotal, not just anecdotal I suppose because of this article, but really good solid founding for the opinions that I have regarding this. So something you may have heard in my other videos, or maybe this is the first time you're arriving to check this out, is the one ultimate level of bullshit that you find with my company Interact, and they're not the only ones who do this, is a 29.5 hour work week. What this means is basically you are not considered eligible under this labor regulation to be covered by health insurance. Most companies in Japan, if you're working above that number of hours, will contribute to the amount that you have to pay for your health insurance. And the cost is quite significant. So my company is able to circumvent helping any of their employees by saying they only work 29.5 hours a week. You sign this contract when you arrive to agree to that, although you work easily 40 hours. You're going in 8 hours a day, and you're going in, I've gone into someone's yard. I will continue my righteous indignation in this direction. Although you reach 40 hours a week, and you say they're paid, they say, oh, you're being paid though, so don't worry about that little detail. You will not be helped for your health insurance, which, especially if you stay here beyond the first year, becomes a very significant cost that you're absorbing. So this is something I've always thought, man, I really hate you for doing that. And I'm always wondering about what is the legitimacy of that. And then I read this article recently. Something else that has been happening in my company that I knew it was floating around the edge of my mind, and I kind of wondered, why are they doing this? Everything in these companies happens for a reason. They don't make major changes in the structure of a company for no reason. And what they're doing is they're splitting Interact into subgroups. Now, because the Japanese government is aware of this kind of corruption, this finagling their way out of having to help employees with their health insurance, they've dictated, arriving soon, I believe in October, that any company with an excess of 500 employees has to help contribute into the health insurance. And oh, okay, hallelujah. But wait, because Interact is splitting their company into these different subgroups, to this new legislation, none of these subgroups will exceed 500 employees. Thus, they can again circumvent having to pay their employees or help their employees with health insurance. And I knew it. I knew something stunk about it. As soon as I saw them doing it, I said, I know there's a reason that they're doing this, and it's not with the employee's best interest in mind that this is happening. So that is a brutal level of corruption, and if you stay here for multiple years, it's incredibly discouraging. Now next, let me go. That was the big one, and I have to say thank you so much to the subscriber for providing me with that information. The next one I wanted to talk about, I've got 4 basically. I'm going to try and go through them quickly, and then I'm going to say, what do we do about this? What do we do about this issue that these companies are corrupt and behave in this way? Second is travel costs, commuter costs that you have to pay. So when I initially arrived to the company, it was that any travel costs were reimbursed. So for example, if I drive somewhere at the end of the month, I rack up how many kilometers I have, and I'm reimbursed by kilometer how much I was paid. I call this section guilty by omission of information. What they did within my last contract is they updated this to say that what we're going to do to streamline, to make it easier for you, is we're going to remove this per kilometer payment. We're going to calculate how off or how many kilometers you have to have each month, and we're going to give you a preset amount. Makes it simple, right? And I thought, okay, I don't know why you would do that. I suppose, like you said, it does streamline things. I like things to be streamlined, okay. But then something happened. Because I have a car, I'm given a lot of sub-assignments. It stands to reason that if you have a car, you're ideal for a sub-assignment, because sub-assignments are covering someone in a location, many times in an inconvenient location, and so they need an ALT who has a car to go cover that. So very often the people who have cars are chosen to go and do these sub-assignments. Now, what that would mean in the original setup that they had was that I would go to the sub-assignment and I would claim those additional kilometers. No big deal. I get paid an additional reimbursement outside of what I would regularly do. Now, I had a sub-assignment under this new structure. I went and I claimed it. And then when I was reimbursed, I said, well, this can't be right. I'd been reimbursed something like 50 yen for, it was something around nearly a 2-hour commute in both directions. So that didn't seem right to me. Something's not right. And I got a hold of them and I said, so I don't understand this. What did you change exactly? And they said, oh, well, the one thing that did change in addition to us giving you a flat rate is reimbursement is only paid to people who use public transit, but not people who are using their cars. They never told anyone this. That's bullshit. And it also, you can see how they're saving money, because most of the sub-assignments that occur are given to people with cars. So basically they found a way to circumvent this additional cost that they were absorbing, where everyone who was driving a car to sub-assignments would ding them with the extra cost of the kilometers that they consumed in that given day that they went out for their sub-assignment. So they didn't tell you that. They didn't want to tell you that detail, because for someone who gets a lot of sub-assignments, and especially when you travel a great distance where it might take you nearly your whole tank of gas to get there and back, you got these little cars, even as efficient as they are, that's a lot of money again. So, corrupt, corrupt, corrupt. Let's go to the next one. Scheduling. I really like this one because I managed to call him on it, and I said, bullshit, what are you trying to do? I've read my contract. So, again, this has to do with the sub-assignment. More people. Let's not disturb them with my indignation. I got this sub-assignment in my email. I'm trying to be kind of thorough here and slow, so I'm not just overloading you with detailed information. I got a sub-assignment in my email saying, we need you to go to this location on this so-and-so a date. And I'm not against doing sub-assignments, even if with this new structure where they're screwing me out of the reimbursement for the cost of my gas, I actually have a good time because it's a new thing to do. You go to a different school. That's interesting. But when I looked at it, I noticed this is on a Saturday. What are they doing giving me a sub-assignment on a Saturday for? That's ridiculous. My contract specifically says you cannot assign me work on my weekend. And so I gave them a call and I said to my scheduler, what are you doing exactly? It says here, why am I being assigned to this on a Saturday? And she goes, oh, well, it's because it's a sports day. すいません。どうぞ。It's on a sports day. And we need you to go cover because the kids need someone to be there during their sports day. And I said, no, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you why on a Saturday, when it says in our contract that we will never be assigned that, are you telling me to do that? And she says, oh, well, you don't have to. And if you did do it, we would give you an extra day off on the following Monday because it's on Saturday. I said, okay, no. So you're asking me to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. Also, when you write your emails to someone with a format that isn't asking, it simply says that you're going to do something, unless someone asks or becomes righteously indignatious, like I am, they wouldn't even know. They would accept it as law, and they would just go to the assignment that they had. Except because I thought that this wasn't right and it seemed a little fishy, I phoned in. But then what they're counting on in that situation is for someone not to ask questions about their kind of behavior, which is gross mismanagement, misscheduling to do, where you're hoping that someone isn't smart enough to call you on your bullshit. Also, to add insult to injury, that day that they were going to give me off was already what is called a work day. And on work days, if you are not called by 10 o'clock in the morning, they cannot call you into work and you're paid for a free day. So basically she was saying, we'll make you work on this day, and a day that you're likely already to have off and be paid for, we'll give you as a day off that you'll get paid for. So they were basically assigning me extra work with no reimbursement for it, which I thought was quite funny. And then finally, the last one, undervaluing their employees. I had an incredible, amazing roommate who worked in 5 different elementary schools and mastered Japanese. He spoke it fluently. He was absolutely incredible. And his schools absolutely loved him, because he did such a good job. And obviously the language made it easy to connect with him. And by his 3rd year, he said, you know what, I've loved it and these schools have really made it worth it for me, but I need a little bit more. It's starting to grind me down with the health insurance, with this, that, and the other thing. I can't afford to keep doing this. I'm going to ask for a modest raise of 10,000 yen a month. And he asked them, and they said, absolutely not. But he's a strong guy, and he sticks to his convictions. So as soon as they said that to him, he said, okay, that's fine, then I quit. I'm going to leave. And he said, okay, fine, you do that. You go and leave. We'll get a replacement. And then within a day, they called him back and said, all right, we'll give you the money. So it was only under threat that they eventually gave my friend the well-deserved raise that was even under what he should have received in the end, which was incredibly modest, and they only did it with pressure. These companies don't reward you on merit. He was a merit-based employee, spoke fluent Japanese, and I believe when he left, they lost the contract with those schools because the schools loved him so much that when he was gone, they wanted nothing to do with the company that employed him. So there you have it. There's a number of stories, and there's more, but it's already a long video, and I don't want to continue to drone on and on and on, where the portion of this, like I said, it's to educate you. It's not to purely be negative, because someone who repeats the same behavior over and over again and expects something new to happen is the very definition of insane. So what we do with this information, since we have it, is we try and adapt our own behavior to improve our experience. And like I said, when you talk about different companies in Japan and corruption, you talk about these large dispatch companies that basically abuse labor regulations and know that because they hire internationally that they don't care about turnover and whatever. I've said it before in other videos, and I'll just repeat it again in this one as the major point that comes out of this, as if a company is going to use you, then you should use them. And the way that you do this is that these companies have a single use, these large dispatch companies, over any other company that exists that you can get hired by. And that is, they hire internationally and from out of country, and they're a great company to piggyback on to get a visa. That is why you sign up with one of these companies. They're relatively easier to get into, and you get a visa from them. Once you are in the country, as soon as you're in the country, if you know what I know, if you know what I've tried to tell you now from this video, you should be searching within a year for a better job that will A, pay you a higher wage, B, contribute to your health insurance, and C, you'll feel more rewarded by, because you won't feel like someone's twisting a knife in your back while they smile at you the whole time. That's the simple thing you have to do. That's all. And somebody might say, oh, well, why didn't you do that? I've been here for a little while. I didn't know any of this. And when you initially arrive, that's also what they're preying on, is when they say to you, oh, this is how it's done in Japan. We give you a 29.5-hour work week. Don't worry about it. And especially in your first year, when the cost of taxes are so low, you don't notice it so much until you continue and you stay. So I am trying to change my situation. I am trying to switch jobs. But if I can help people now know that this is the way that these companies behave, then I've done my job. Then I've contributed something with this video. And hopefully the end result is that people come over here and have a positive experience. Don't come over and see a slow disillusionment of their belief that they can have a fulfilling experience here. That's what I want. I want more people to come, more people to be good teachers, more people to enjoy their experience here. The companies, these large dispatch companies, to become accountable for these horrible business practices, and everyone to improve. It's not to throw our hands up and give up. It's to do something more because we know more. So please share this video. If you know a teacher who's coming over to Japan, if you are a teacher yourself and you'd like to come over to Japan, share this video. Let people know that this is the way it works and how you should act in the first year to progress your career here, if that's something that you seek it to be. So please do share it. Please do like it if you think I've provided, some useful information here. And please comment. Maybe you talk about your experiences, if you're a teacher here, experiences you've heard. I know it'll turn into horror stories, but hopefully also provide stories where people have turned that around, that they've gotten to a different company, where they've changed their situation with knowledge and power. All right. That's all for now. Catch you in the next video. I got like a cool cultural one planned for tomorrow, so it's a little more uplifting, but I couldn't resist this wonderful article. I'm going to link the article in the description down below as well, so you can read that and see exactly what I'm talking about, because I touched on the specific detail of health insurance, but extends to other things as well. All right, thanks for tripping with Dave. Ciao for now. Peace.